Subscribe to my channel Report Stock.
So, what does it really take for some groundbreaking technology to not just get invented, but to actually go on and revolutionize a whole industry? Today, we're doing a deep dive into SmartChem. They're a company looking to, well, fundamentally change electronics with a whole new class of transistor technology. And our source material for this, it's SmartChem's own Q2 2025 financial results and business update. Basically, a corporate press release that lays out their progress and their financial situation. Our mission here really is to pull out the most important insights. We want to get past just the numbers and understand, what is this company actually doing? What are the implications of their tech? And what are the, frankly, financial realities shaping their path forward?
It was fascinating, I think, especially with companies in these really deep tech areas like semiconductors, is that there's often this huge gap, sometimes painful gap,
Yep.
between the exciting R&D stuff and actually turning a solid profit. So this financial report, it lets us see pretty clearly how a company like SmartGim is trying to manage that really challenging, very capital-hungry phase.
Right. Exactly. So for you listening, the stage is kind of set. We're going to explore this intriguing balance, this tightrope walk between truly cutting edge innovation and, well, the critical financial health you need to actually get it to market. We'll unpack the impressive tech highlights first, and
Yeah.
then, the pretty stark financial figures that go alongside them. Okay, so we've set that stage talking about the balance between innovation and financial reality. Let's kick off with the innovation side, because in Q2, SmartChem really seems to have made some moves. What were the standout technical steps forward you saw, especially, for a deep tech player like this?
Well, there were definitely a few key things. First off, SmartCom showed off a 12.3-inch micro-LED smart backlight demo. This is specifically aimed at next-gen automotive LCD screens, and we're not just talking a small tweak here. This looks like a potentially significant jump in display tech. It promises, better brightness, contrast, energy efficiency, all things that are really crucial for these advanced car cockpits we're seeing.
That is a big deal for displays. I mean, especially with everyone wanting these more immersive experiences in cars. But it didn't stop there, did it? They also signed a preliminary deal, a joint development agreement with Asia. What's the significance of that partnership?
Right, so this Man's Asia partnership, it's about co-developing inkjet dielectric inks. And the target application is advanced AI chip packaging. Now, if you connect the dots, it shows their core technology isn't just for displays, it's branching out potentially into the huge, fast-growing area of AI hardware. It suggests their material science might have broader uses than maybe first thought, which, is always a positive signal for a company working on this kind of deep technology.
Okay, and here's something I found really interesting on the innovation front. They got a new UK patent. It's for a micro-LED manufacturing process. And the key thing, it enables wafer reuse. That just sounds like a potential game changer for efficiency, for cost. For you listening, think about it. This could mean potentially slashing manufacturing costs in a field where, let's be honest, high costs are a major roadblock to getting this tech everywhere. Most micro-LED processes right now use single-use substrates, basically, so being able to reuse wafers. That could fundamentally change the economics, make it viable for much wider markets. And of course, this all adds to their growing IP portfolio, which is all built around their proprietary TrueFlex semiconductor polymers and those low-temperature printing methods they've been developing.
So yeah, we're seeing definite technological steps forward, new partnerships forming, IP being locked down, all absolutely vital building blocks for a deep tech company aiming for long-term success. Which naturally brings up the big question. How does all that impressive technical momentum actually stack up against their financial position during this really intense development period? Because innovation, as we know all too well, doesn't come cheap.
You're absolutely right. It certainly doesn't. And looking at the financials for Q2 2025, there's a pretty significant story unfolding there. Their cash and cash equivalents, they dropped sharply from $7.1 million at the end of last year, December 31st, 2024, down to just $1.2 million by June 30th, 2025. What does that kind of rapid cash burn tell us about the immediate pressures on a company like SmartChem? Especially when the company itself says this $1.2 million is only expected to fund operations through September 30th, 2025. That's not far away.
Wow, yeah. That cash burn is incredibly striking, almost $6 million used in just 6 months. It tells us they are absolutely in a critical high investment phase. They're pouring money into R&D, into scaling up. But that runway, just 3 months ending September 30th, that signals, well, extreme urgency is no other way to put it. They absolutely have to secure more funding or start generating significant revenue very, very quickly. Sort of the classic deep tech dilemma, isn't it? balancing that potentially world-changing progress with the immediate need to keep the lights on.
It puts immense pressure on everything they do. And how does that compare with their revenue picture? Did that pick up?
Well, for the 3 months ending June 30th, 2025, revenue was just 32,000 pass, mostly from selling some OTFT backplanes. Those are the transistor arrays controlling display pixels and some G-reflex materials for evaluation purposes. And you put that 32K against a substantial increase in operating expenses. They hit $4.7 million in Q2 2025. That's up from $3.0 million in the same quarter of 2024. Indeed. And that jump in operating expenses, it was largely driven by R&D, which went up by $1.5 million. That included costs from extending their CPI framework agreement, plus higher staffing, costs all signs of intense development work, as you'd expect. And on top of that, their general and administrative expenses, the G&A line, that was up by $0.6 million, mostly due to professional services fees, with about half of that, $1.3 million, being non-cash expenses like stock compensation.
Yeah.
So yeah, while they're spending heavily where you'd hope on the innovation, they're also racking up significant overhead costs.
So you add all that up, increased spending on R&D operations, and it led to an operating loss of $4.4 million for the quarter, which is quite a bit bigger than the $2.8 million loss they had in Q2 of 2024. However, there was a bit of an unexpected twist, right? A non-operating gain, specifically from foreign currency transactions, it was pretty significant, $1.970 million. And that actually helped reduce their overall net loss for the quarter down to $2.4 million, which is better than the $3.1 million net loss they posted in Q2 2024. So that foreign currency gain offered a little bit of a cushion, didn't it?
It certainly did. It provided a temporary buffer, stopping the net loss figure from looking even worse. But, and this is crucial, I think, we also need to look at the shift on their balance sheet. They moved into a stockholders deficit position. It was $127,000 at the end of June. Now, for listeners, what that means is their liabilities now actually exceed their assets plus the money shareholders put in. It's a really challenging financial spot to be in. And the huge swing from having $6.591 million in equity at the end of 2024. It just starkly reflects that intense investment needed to push their tech forward without enough revenue or new capital coming in to offset it.
Right. So for you, our listener, wrapping your head around this, what we've seen is a company that's clearly pushing the boundaries, truly innovative, patented technology, from these advanced micro-LED displays that could change car screens to materials that might impact the next generation of AI chips. But on the other hand, we've got this really stark financial picture. It reveals the huge investment, the massive cash burn needed to develop and hopefully commercialize this kind of high-tech stuff. And it results in an incredibly tight financial deadline looming.
Exactly. And what's so fascinating here is that sharp contrast, isn't it, between the really significant technological progress you see, the patents, the partnerships, the demos, all pointing towards a potentially compelling future, and then this immediate, very short financial runway. It just throws into sharp relief that long, capital-intensive road that companies like SmartChem have to travel, going from a scientific breakthrough to actually getting it widely adopted in the market. It highlights that innovation by itself, however brilliant, just isn't enough. Securing substantial, consistent funding is equally critical.
So as you think about the future, about where electronics and AI are headed, maybe the question to ponder is this. How do these companies, the ones with potentially world-changing deep tech ideas, actually manage to bridge that gap? That gap between the groundbreaking R&D and achieving sustained commercial success, especially when they're facing down these incredibly tight financial deadlines. What kind of external factors or maybe strategic pivots become absolutely crucial for their survival, let alone their ultimate success?
Subscribe to my channel Report Stock.